traction is the grip that you have on the water. Traction determines how much the boat moves forward for every inch that you pull your blade backwards. So for example, if you have poor traction, then as your blade comes through your stroke, then the blade's going to slip back less than the boat moves forward. Say there's a buoy at my feet, then when I catch, I set my blade in the water. A good paddler, you'll see their blade go in the water. It stays in the same spot right next to that buoy, and they'll actually pull themselves past that point so the boat moves past the blade. When you see a more novice paddler, you'll see them set their blade next to the buoy. You'll see their blade come back so that when they exit, the paddle's actually behind the buoy. That's when you have poor traction. What that looks like in the water is when you set the blade, say if I overextend into the setup, so I straighten my bottom arm completely into the setup, and I reach out to try and get the tip of the blade as far forward as I can. Then from this position, when I go to set the blade in the water, due to joints being angular, in order to put the blade down, it also has to come back at the same time. The effect of that on the water mechanics is that it creates whirlpools moving around the blade, and that decreases your grip and decreases your traction on the water, and therefore the blade slips back further and faster than the boat moves forward past your blade. What you want to do to avoid that overextending into the setup, to trying to get the tip of the blade as far forward as you can, what you want to do instead is set up a little more close to you and a little more reasonable, and use a little bit of that elbow extension to actually place the blade into the water. So instead of extending all the way forward, we want to be a little bit closer, and then when we go to catch, that's when we set it in all the way. A symptom of this that you can see in a dragon boat is if you're paddling and you find that chronically your top hand punches the back of the person in front of you. That could be because you're going to set the blade in the water and your traction is probably not as good as it could be, so your blade slips back, resulting in your blade angle changing very quickly, which gets your top hand punching forward. Whereas on the other hand, what you want to try and do is set the blade fully, and then if you had better traction, what would happen is the top hand would come back with the bottom hand as your blade angle is maintained better. So instead of doing overextending, having this punching action, what would happen instead is the top hand tracks backwards.